Hi, welcome to Foodie Talk. Today, I'm discussing an important and often misunderstood topic: why treating sex addiction isn't simply about mending the relationship. If you're a partner of someone struggling with sex addiction, or if you yourself are facing these challenges, you might have heard the advice that if you work on the relationship, the addiction will take care of itself. While a strong, supportive relationship is incredibly valuable, it isn't a cure-all for the deep-rooted issues behind sex addiction. In the next 10 minutes, I'll break down why comprehensive individual-focused treatment is essential. First, let's define what sex addiction really is. Unlike a simple habit or occasional behavior, sex addiction is a compulsive, repetitive behavior that can significantly disrupt one's life. It's often rooted in underlying issues such as trauma, stress, and mental health challenges. The behavior becomes a way to escape painful emotions and unresolved issues. It isn't simply a symptom that will vanish if the relationship improves. Now, let's address this myth that fixing or improving a relationship will automatically heal a sex addiction. Many well-meaning therapists and counselors suggest that if partners invest time and effort into mending their bond, addiction will recede. While a supportive partnership can help create a stable environment, it does not address the individual's internal battles. Relying solely on relationship work overlooks the core issues driving the addictive behavior. Sex addiction often involves compulsions that are linked to personal trauma, unresolved emotions, and sometimes neurological patterns. These factors require targeted individual therapy to truly start the healing process. So why is individual treatment so crucial? First, the addictive behaviors are typically coping mechanisms that stem from personal pain or trauma. If these underlying issues aren't addressed through individual therapy, the behaviors are likely to continue regardless of how much the relationship improves. To truly recover from sex addiction, we have to go deeper than just the relationship. There are 3 core factors that must be addressed in individual therapy. Factors that exist independently of the relationship. Let's start with the first factor: personal trauma. Many individuals struggling with sex addiction have unresolved trauma from their past. This can include childhood neglect, abuse, attachment wounds, or even relational betrayals early in life. When trauma isn't processed, it doesn't just disappear. It lives in the body, shaping behaviors, emotional responses, and even how a person seeks comfort. For some, acting out sexually becomes a way to numb that pain, a temporary escape. But no amount of relationship work can resolve trauma that hasn't been addressed at its root. This is why individual therapy is critical. It provides a safe space to process and heal these wounds, so they no longer drive destructive patterns. Next, let's talk about emotional dysregulation, or difficulty managing emotions in a healthy way. Many people caught in sex addiction struggle with intense feelings: shame, anxiety, loneliness, or even boredom that feels like emptiness. These can be overwhelming. Instead of sitting with those emotions, they turn to compulsive behaviors as a way to soothe and distract themselves. Sexual acting out isn't about sex, it's about emotional escape. Sobriety and long-term recovery also are not about willpower or love for a partner. It's about needing to learn healthier ways to cope with unbearable emotions. Individual therapy helps a person build emotional resilience, developing the ability to self-soothe, tolerate discomfort, and regulate feelings without turning to destructive behaviors. And finally, we have the neurological factors, the brain science behind addiction. Over time, compulsive sexual behaviors rewire the brain's reward system. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure and motivation, becomes hijacked. This creates cravings, tolerance, and an increasing need for more stimulation to achieve the same effect. In other words, the brain adapts to addiction. Recovery requires rewiring. Just like other forms of addiction, sex addiction isn't a moral failing or a lack of discipline. It's a learned, reinforced pattern in the brain that must be consciously rewired through individual therapy, mindfulness, and structured recovery programs. These 3 factors, personal trauma, emotional dysregulation, and neurological changes, are what drive sex addiction. They exist independent of the relationship, but at the same time, they deeply impact the relationship. A betrayed partner can't heal their loved one's trauma. They can't regulate their emotions for them, and they certainly can't rewire their brain. This is why individual therapy isn't optional. It's essential. It's the foundation for long-term recovery, breaking the cycle of addiction, and ultimately creating a healthier relationship. When therapy targets only the relationship, these internal struggles remain unresolved. The individual is left to cope with these issues on their own, and the cycle of addiction persists. Comprehensive treatment for recovery from sex addiction and betrayal trauma involves individual work, joint work, group therapy, and couples work. Each of these components play a vital role in recovery. Focusing solely on the relationship misses the opportunity to treat the underlying causes of the addiction. For true healing, the person struggling with the addiction needs to take responsibility for their own recovery, supported but not solely defined by their relationship. For partners of sex addicts, it's important to understand that you are not responsible for fixing the addiction by solely working on the relationship. While your support is critical, your own well-being matters too. Encourage your loved one to seek comprehensive treatment and consider individual therapy for yourself. It's okay to set boundaries and seek help from professionals who specialize in sex addiction recovery. For those who struggle with sex addiction, know that the path to recovery isn't about blaming your partner or expecting your relationship to be a cure-all. Your journey requires dedicated individual work, acknowledging your pain, understanding your triggers, and committing to change. Recovery is a process that involves facing your personal challenges head-on with the support of a therapist, friends, and a recovery community. So let's recap the key points. Treating sex addiction effectively means addressing the individual struggles directly, rather than assuming that a better relationship will automatically solve the problem. While a loving and supportive partnership can and should be part of recovery, it is not a substitute for the hard work of personal healing. It's a common misconception, one that can leave both partners feeling frustrated and helpless when therapists suggest that relationship work alone will fix the addiction. Real progress comes when both individuals commit to the journey of personal growth and professional treatment. If you or your partner are caught in this cycle, remember that seeking specialized help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Look for therapists who understand sex addiction in its entirety and who can offer both individual and relational support. Healing is possible when every aspect of the problem is addressed, and it starts from the inside out. If you're ready to take that step, reach out to a professional who understands these deep layers of addiction. You don't have to do this alone. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has helped clarify why treating sex addiction isn't just about fixing the relationship. Whether you're a partner or someone struggling with addiction, know that comprehensive treatment is the key to long-term recovery. And if you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights on mental health and recovery. And remember, your journey towards healing begins with taking that first step. Take care and be kind to yourself.